Well, we're back. And this week we're talking about sexy, alluring, head-turning fragrances. So yeah, yesterday when I was at Tokyo Station, I was going to the bookstore and I was walking through the station and it was so crowded at the time, but someone passed by me that smelled absolutely amazing. And it made me turn my head. It was like, they were using some Jedi mind tricks on me. I couldn't even control my body. My head just turned back, trying to figure out who that was smelling that great. So I was like, okay, I'm going through my collection and I'm gonna pick 5 fragrances that do exactly that. They're alluring, sexy head turners. So if you're interested to see which 5 fragrances I picked in my collection, then let's go. First up, from the house of Goldfield and Banks, we have Ingenious Ginger. Man, so this is a fragrance that I discovered last summer, and ooh, this one works a treat. It is extremely sexy. So this fragrance opens up with a blast of ginger, some bergamot, some other citruses, and then as you move into the dry down, you get some patchouli and vanilla that really start to push forward. And man, this one is gorgeous. The sillage trail that this one leaves is so sexy. It's a head turner for sure. And what I really like about this fragrance too, it's very versatile. This can work in pretty much any season in my opinion. It has the strength to kind of push through those colder winter months, but the vanilla isn't so cloying or heavy to where it would be annoying in the summertime. It's just the right amount and it's blended very, very well. This is basically, think if you have a cup of ice, you pour in some ginger ale and then later you sprinkle in a little bit of vanilla. And so you have icy cold ginger ale with a vanilla touch, and that's exactly what you get here. This one is so nice. I end up getting just a 10 ml bottle, and I put a little dent in there, as it did get definitely plenty of wear from me, but I'm looking forward to spending more time with this one in the spring and summer months here in Japan. Yeah, this one's gonna be a go-to for sure, and I think I'll probably end up upgrading to like a 50 ml bottle most likely, because I do really, really enjoy this stuff. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Ingenious Ginger by Goldfield and Banks. Next up, from the house of BDK, we have Ce Soir Extrait. So this one's a fruity, sweet, amber floral fragrance. And when BDK released the Extrait version, I was a bit skeptical and I was like, I'm not sure if I really want to try this or not, because I was pretty familiar with the original Ce Soir. And for me, it pushed really, really feminine. And of course it smelled great when a woman wore it, or when women wear it. But for me, I was like, this is a little bit too feminine for my taste. But one day when I went fragrance shopping, I said, okay, hey, let me try this out. And they put it on a tester strip and I smelled it and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this smells really good. And then I tried it on skin and man, they did some magic with this one. They added a little bit of patchouli and cacao, and that helped to kind of edge it a little bit closer towards that masculine side of things. I think in general, it still pushes a bit feminine, but that patchouli and cacao really helped to push it a little bit further towards that masculine side of things. But man, I really enjoy this one. The sillage on this is absolutely gorgeous. It is a stunner for sure. It's easily unisex, men and women can both wear it. But yeah, I love this one. And the bottle is stunning. I love the color that they chose for this one. The projection on this is really, really good. It will leave a very nice bubble around you and the sillage just lingers in the air. Head turner for sure. I love this one. This is definitely one of my favorites from BDK. I would say this and Tobacco Rose. Man, Tobacco Rose is a head turner, and that could have also easily been on this list, but I chose to put on Ce Soir Extrait instead. But yeah, I love Tobacco Rose as well. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Ce Soir Extrait from BDK. Next up, from the house of Perris, Monte Carlo, we have Rose de Taif Extrait. You guys, so I've recently made a video about this fragrance, and this is hands down my favorite rose fragrance. This is done extremely well. This is deep, heavy, jammy, syrupy rose that just is done to perfection. And my image of this, when I smell this one, seriously, mind blown. Mind blown. It's like I'm speechless and don't even know what to say. Like, they have blended this one to perfection. So with this one, my image is that I'm laying in a petal or bathtub full of Taif roses and someone's pouring lemonade all over me. And that's basically what you get with this one. So yeah, I mean, it opens up with a blast of heavy Taif rose with some citruses. And as you move into the dry down, some patchouli and musk start to push forward. But this one remains rose dominant from beginning to end. It is just really, really unbelievably executed here and blended to perfection. And the sillage that this stuff leaves is crazy. Now, I've only tried this fragrance in the winter because it's a recent pickup for me. So I'm super excited to try this one in the spring and summer months when the weather starts to warm up. I think this one is going to shine. And as I mentioned before in my other video that I had made, this one's going to be in the rotation for spring and summer for sure. I really cannot wait to try this one out. I mean, you guys, I'm not playing. If you like rose, you have got to get your nose on this one. It's definitely a bit pricey, but it is worth the price. I'm telling you, this is some serious stuff. And in my humble opinion, this has to be the best rose fragrance on the market. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Rose de Taif by Perris, Monte Carlo. Next up, from the house of Maison Violet, we have Un Air d'Apogée. So this one's such a gorgeous fragrance, and unlike any other fragrance I have in my collection, this is tobacco done so well. What I really like about this one, it kind of gives off a tobacco and honey vibe, although this fragrance doesn't have any honey in it. It does have the note of mimosa, which kind of gives off a powdery like honeyness, and that's what this has here. This stuff is so good. Now, what I will say is this just has moderate projection and moderate sillage, but the sillage trail that it does leave is heavenly. It is really, really gorgeous. So this one opens up with a gorgeous honey note given off by that mimosa, and then that tobacco and hay really start to push forward to give it an earthiness. And as you move into the dry down, you get a nice subtle hint of leather that's blended to perfection. But this stuff is amazing, and it doesn't really get hardly any hype. I don't understand why. This stuff is so good. The perfumer on this is Nathalie Lorsan. She's one of my favorite perfumers. She's done a phenomenal job here. Yeah. And a lot of the fragrance from this fragrance house doesn't get talked about so often, but they really do have some really just lovely, wonderful, and unique smelling fragrances. So you should check them out. And Nathalie Lorsan is the perfumer for this house. So I think she's created all of the fragrances for the house of Maison Violet. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Un Air d'Apogée by Maison Violet. And finally, from the house of Jeroboam, we have Vespero. So let me tell you a quick story about this fragrance. So a couple weeks ago, I was wearing this. I went to a convenience store. I put my item on the counter and then I accidentally knocked something off. So I bent down to pick it up. And when I got back up, the convenience store clerk was looking at me. She's like, "What are you wearing?" She's like, "You smell so good." And I was like, "Oh, it's Vespero by Jeroboam." She's like, "Wow, you really know how to pick fragrance as well." And yeah, I mean, this one, and it's not the first time that I've received compliments from wearing this fragrance. I mean, it feels like it's almost every time I wear it. It seems that people really, really just enjoy the smell of this fragrance. Now, in a way, it kind of has that, it goes down that, I guess, kind of Creed Aventus DNA. It's not a dupe or a clone by any means. Creed Aventus, it starts off with that heavy blast of pineapple and you have some birch tar and some other stuff in there. But this one, has a heavy blast of apple in the top. And as you move into the dry down, you definitely have a leathery scent that starts to push through. It's subtle, but it is there. You can definitely pick up on it. But this is such a gorgeous, gorgeous scent. I love it. Yeah, Jeroboam fragrances have fantastic performance in general. They all leave great sillage trails and they project quite heavily. 30 ml extrait de parfum concentrations. Yeah, Jeroboam is a house too that doesn't get a whole lot of love, but they definitely should. But you know, as I mentioned before, they're the sister company of Javoy, so they kind of sit in the shadows of Javoy. But yeah, this stuff is amazing, and if you haven't gotten your nose on any Jeroboam fragrances, you are missing out, I'm telling you. I would say, you know, in terms of versatile fragrances from the house of Jeroboam, Vespero is probably the most versatile. So if you're looking to get a fragrance that you could wear any season, then I would say check out Vespero, because it's probably the one that's the most versatile under their entire lineup. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Vespero by Jeroboam. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content. And do you know any of the fragrances that I've showed you today? You know, what are your thoughts and opinions on them? You know, do you consider them head turners or sexy or alluring like I do? Let me know down in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I hope you guys are all staying healthy and well, and I'll see you in the next video.